This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. You've probably seen this box sat on the sofa behind me in the last couple of videos that have gone out yesterday and the day before. Well, today we're going to see what's in it. So, well, you know what happens now, don't you?
Go on, lad. Way out.
Okay then, so what we have here is, I'm just reading this off the back of the headstock. You can see on the front of the headstock it says Harley Benton. So it's a Harley Benton RB-612 Classic Series. Or put another way, it's a Harley Benton copy of a Rickenbacker 12-string. I didn't buy this guitar, as you could probably tell from the packaging when I was doing the unboxing a moment ago. Well, it was actually about an hour ago. We'll come to that in a moment. But in that unboxing part of the video, you could see that from the packaging, this was a used guitar. It was sent to me by a very kind gentleman called Dave Lewis, who is a good friend of this channel. You see him in the comments section all the time, and he regularly crops up in the chat on the Friday live stream. Basically, he had this guitar that he wasn't really bonding with, and he said, I think I mentioned on the Friday live stream a little while ago that, yeah, I don't have a 12-string, and he kind of thought, I have one, you can have it if you want. I'm not hanging on to this guitar. It's going to be going to Zoe's Place, the kids' charity around here that I support, and they'll use it as a raffle prize, or, you know, as they'll put it up on their eBay and raise money with it that way. Very, very worthy cause. If you don't know Zoe's Place, basically they provide end-of-life care to children under 5 with life-limiting illnesses, and you know, I'm happy to pass on whatever I can to them to help them raise a bit of funds. So what we've got here, courtesy of Mr. Lewis, Dave Lewis, is, as I said, a Harley Benton Rickenbacker copy, a 12-string copy. I am relatively new to the whole world of 12-string guitars. I've never owned one, and I think I can probably count on the fingers of one hand the number of times throughout the years that I've played one. I think probably the last time I played one was when I was at college back in the 80s, and one of the guys who was living in the halls of residence had one, and you know, used to occasionally have a bit of a play on it. But it's been a while, let's put it that way. So don't expect an expert in-depth review of you know, what kind of 12-string guitar this is. Basically, if you are an aficionado of 12-string guitars, then you've probably got your sights on something a little bit more upmarket than a Harley Benton copy, it has to be said. So if you're just in the market for something that is that's got that kind of Rickenbacker vibe and will be a 12-string that you can have in your collection, in the a colour on your palette, as it were, then, you know, that's what we're going to investigate today. So, I unboxed this guitar about an hour ago, and it's taken me an hour to get it into a state where it's, you know, kind of comfortable to play. The truss rod was, well, let's say the neck relief was, there was quite a bow in there, quite a concave bow, more so than I would like on any guitar. So I tightened the truss rod, which it's still not quite where I would want it to be, but the truss rod was kind of pretty much feeling like if I tightened it anymore, it was going to start, you know, kind of being a little bit, well, there may have been breakages, put it that way. So the neck relief is still a little bit, you know, if I do that thing that I talked about last week of, you know, fret there and then reach over, there's still quite a big-ish gap there at the 12th fret when I reach over and do that. So ideally there would be a little bit more travel in the truss rod, but there isn't, so this is the way it is, and we're just going to have to live with it. The action was also really, really high, so I've had to adjust that. Curiously, I can't remember the sizes, but one thing I did find odd was it was a metric Allen key to do the truss rod and an imperial. I couldn't find a metric one that would fit to do these little, I don't know if you can see there, but the action adjustment screws here. These are Allen key screws. There wasn't a metric one that fitted that. It was sort of in between two sizes, but the one of the imperial ones that I've got that fit okay. So just a little bit of a oddity, that's all. I've never known that on a guitar. Some things metric, some things imperial, but there you go. Anyway, I'll put a full link to the spec for this guitar down in the description. Because you know that's you don't need me to sit and read a spec sheet. You can go and click on the link and do it yourself. What does it sound like? Well, we're going to have a listen. Currently, I'm plugged into, as usual, the classic gain channel on my Marshall DSL1. Hardly. An obvious combination, Marshall with a 12-string or 12-string Rickenbacker kind of thing, but it is the amp that I've got. So let's hear what it sounds like. Bridge pickup with the volume rolled back a bit to give us a little bit of clean headroom. Sounds like this. Then going to the neck pickup, again, volume control rolled back a little bit just to give us a bit of clean headroom. This is the kind of sound we're getting. And in the middle position. So, I mean, you know, it's certainly got that vibe, hasn't it? More so than I have come into this sort of thing. As I say, it just feels like I'm wearing someone else's shoes playing on a 12-string. It just feels a little bit, unfamiliar. One thing I always tell my students is don't mistake the difficult for the unfamiliar, because one can often feel like the other. So that is possibly why this guitar feels a little bit difficult to play, because I'm unfamiliar with the whole 12-string experience. The gripe that I have with it is that, well, two things really. The truss rod thing, okay. You know, there's no real scope to tighten the truss rod any further. It is literally as kind of screwed down as it's going to go without, as I say, risking damage. And the neck relief still ain't right. So that it would potentially be a cause for concern. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is playable. Probably a lot more playable than I've made it sound, given my ham-fisted attempts at, kind of doing various 12-stringage kind of things. It is playable, but it could be a lot more playable. I just think that truss rod for me is ringing a little bit of an alarm bell. The other thing is that when I tuned this guitar, and then when I tuned it again, and then again, and then again, it's maybe this is just a thing with 12 strings that you've just that tuning is something that you need to check your diary for a free afternoon. It was not exactly stable tuning. The other thing I noticed is I use this headstock tuner just for kind of getting all the guitars in, but I've got in tuning here. I don't use this for doing setups, but it's good enough for just tuning a guitar for playing purposes. For checking intonation, something like that doesn't really kind of work. But checking this guitar on this tuner, and thinking, right, okay, I'm in tune. Strum, oh dear me, no, I'm not. It wasn't. It seems much more revealing of slight tuning discrepancies. So I ended up having to go into Reaper, plug it into Reaper, and open up a track and put the rear tune, basically the built-in guitar tuner that's in Reaper, and finally got it in tune with that. And it didn't seem a lot out. It certainly was. I mean, as I say, it wasn't out of tune because it was being this headstock tuner was, which is more than capable of getting all my other guitars in tune satisfactorily. Just the slightest little bit out that you can only really measure on a much more accurate tuner than something like that makes a big difference to whether this guitar sounds in tune or not. Ultimately, this is not going to be a guitar for me. As I say, it's going to Zoe's place for them to raise some cash with, and Dave very kindly donated the guitar, and I said I'd make at least a video out of it, maybe a couple. It's I don't know, it's just not really a tool that I will have much use for, and if I did kind of need a 12 string, I would probably be looking elsewhere, because that truss rod issue, that potential truss rod issue is something that would concern me. So there you go. I don't want to sound like I don't like this guitar. It seems, truss rod aside, it seems pretty well made. Everything works, the adjustments, especially at the bridge and everything, were easy enough to do. It sounds the part. It's got that sort of Rickenbacker-y, 12-stringy kind of 60s jangle-y kind of Birds, Beatles pop kind of thing going on in spades. It's just not something that's for me, and I'm incredibly grateful to Dave for sending this over to me and allowing me to make a video with it and pass it on to a very, very worthy cause. So there you go, folks. That is my quick little review of the Harley Benton RB612 Classic Series. Make of it what you will. And that is the video for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed what you've seen and found it relatively informative and possibly even a little bit entertaining. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not drop me a like while you're at it. Don't forget, as always, the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time, where we drink beer and talk about music and guitars. What a great way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.